Why did Pap wait until the absolute last minute of Father's Day to acknowledge the rest of his children after spending nearly the entire day showering attention on just one? This is Marcus Hale. Welcome back to the Shader Channel, and thanks for stopping by. Hopefully, everybody is having a great day. Today we're talking about Papoose, also known as Remy Ma's estranged husband, also known as Claressa Shields' married man, and all the drama wrapped around that situation. Yesterday was Father's Day, and something immediately grabbed my attention. First of all, happy Father's Day to the fathers who are truly putting in the work and showing up for their kids every single day. That's what the occasion is supposed to represent. Now, here's what had me giving Pap the side eye. This is somebody who will hop online and post about practically anything. It doesn't matter whether it's something major or something minor. He's usually active in sharing his thoughts. But yesterday, I noticed that for most of the day, he only acknowledged one out of his 4 children. And I couldn't help but wonder what exactly was happening. I was sitting there thinking, this is no bueno. Seriously, the whole thing felt odd. That first post stayed up for almost the entire day. And honestly, the situation had me puzzled. I kept asking myself, don't you have 4 children? Because based on what everyone was seeing, only one child appeared to be getting the Father's Day spotlight. Like, what exactly are we doing here? Seriously, what is going on? Anyway, let's get into the post. It read, "These 2 beauties right here are first cousins, my niece and my daughter, but they are both like my daughters. They were extremely close. For the past few years, they have not been speaking to one another. I couldn't wait to catch them in the same place at the same damn time." Followed by an angry emoji. He continued, "I raised both of them in real life. I told them all I want for Father's Day is for them to cut the BS out. Life is too short and family is everything. Always remember when you see me, I represent togetherness. It's the power of love. We don't do it for the cameras. We are way too authentic for that. I hope this can inspire some other families to do the same. This made my day. I love you guys. Thanks for my gift." Then he added the 6,100 emojis, a heart emoji, and Happy Father's Day to the real ones out there. So this was the energy Pap decided to put out on Father's Day. This was the message he wanted front and center for most of the day. The focus was family unity, bringing people back together and celebrating reconciliation. But here's where people started raising their eyebrows. That post remained up for hours, and during all that time, there was still no acknowledgement of his other 3 children. That's the part that stood out to me. Usually, when someone makes a Father's Day post like this, they'll also share something recognizing all of their children. Maybe a message saying, "I'm proud to be the father of these 4 amazing kids," or something along those lines. That's typically what people expect to see on a day dedicated to celebrating fatherhood as a whole. Like, what are we doing here? What is actually happening? Anyway, it wasn't until the very end of the night that things finally shifted. We're talking around 9 or 10 p.m. when Pap eventually made a post that included his other children. Up until that moment, a lot of people were wondering whether there would even be a broader Father's Day acknowledgement at all. The post said, "I have knocked down walls, climbed mountains, and done the impossible for mine." The authenticity and sincerity of a real father can never be questioned. Hashtag Happy Father's Day. Along with that message came a 12-slide photo carousel featuring family pictures. One child appeared in a large portion of those photos, which only fueled a conversation that had already been building throughout the day. And that's really what caught my attention. The timing of everything. It just felt unusual. If the goal was truly to celebrate all of your children on Father's Day, so why wait until the very last hours of the day to make that post? That's the question many people ended up asking. Now, everybody approaches social media differently. Some parents share everything, while others hardly post at all. Nobody is obligated to put family moments online, especially during holidays or special occasions. That's completely their choice. At the same time, Pap has consistently been outspoken online about fatherhood, family, and the role he plays in his children's lives. Because of that, I wasn't shocked when he eventually posted a larger Father's Day tribute. What caught me off guard was how much time passed before all of his children were included in the celebration. To me, it created the impression that one child was receiving the majority of the attention while the others were acknowledged much later. That's the takeaway some viewers walked away with, whether that was the intended message or not. And naturally, that sparked even more questions and answers. Some people started wondering whether relationships between parents can sometimes shape how family dynamics are viewed from the outside. Of course, nobody truly knows what happens behind closed doors, and social media only reveals a tiny piece of the full story. Still, when people notice differences in the way posts are made, they're going to discuss it and try to figure out exactly what message is being sent. Like, do the kids have to meet certain standards before getting attention from Pap? Do they have to fit a particular mold before they're acknowledged? I don't know. But those are the kinds of questions that crossed my mind while watching this entire situation unfold. What really didn't sit right with me was the way it looked from the outside. For most of Father's Day, it appeared that only one child was being highlighted. Then later that evening, after people had already begun talking about it, the broader family post suddenly appeared with a photo carousel and everything else. To me, that's where things become a little complicated. Either post or don't post. Nobody is required to place their family business on social media. But if you're going to create Father's Day content centered around being a parent, many people expect all of your children to be included somewhere in that celebration. When one child gets the spotlight for nearly the entire day while everyone else shows up much later, it's easy to understand why people start asking questions. Fair or unfair, that's simply how social media works. People notice details, and they pay attention to who gets highlighted and when. And that's exactly why conversations about favoritism constantly pop up within families. When there are differences in attention, recognition, or visibility, people naturally begin comparing situations. Whether that's reality or simply perception, those discussions can develop a life of their own incredibly fast. Think about it from the perspective of the other children for a second. If you spent the day watching your father post about one child while you weren't mentioned until much later, how would that feel? That's a question many viewers were asking while watching everything unfold online. Another detail that stood out was the photo itself. The post appeared to include a FaceTime screenshot, which suggested the family members weren't necessarily together in person at that moment. Instead, it looked like they connected virtually to show they had reunited and were on good terms again. That's great news if relationships were repaired. But it also added another layer to the conversation people were already having about the Father's Day posts and the timing surrounding them. So that's another thing that caught my attention, right? You've already made a major Father's Day post centered around a child who, based on what was shared online, didn't appear to be spending the day with you in person. The post focused on her and your niece reconnecting, and that became the main storyline for most of the holiday. Then, much later, right near the end of the day, the post recognizing your other children finally arrived. And for me, that's where the entire situation started feeling just a little bit strange. I just couldn't shake the feeling that the entire rollout seemed carefully orchestrated for social media. That's my personal reaction, especially because the message leaned heavily on being authentic, being genuine, and not doing things for attention or cameras. When someone repeatedly says, "We don't do it for the cameras," and "this isn't for social media," people are naturally going to compare those words with the actions they're watching unfold online. That's exactly why the timing became such a major part of conversation. From the outside looking in, the reunion between your daughter and niece became the headline moment of the day. It created the impression that this was the accomplishment being showcased and publicly celebrated. Some viewers even felt the post was positioning that reconciliation as a big Father's Day success story. Then, much later, near the very end of the day, the larger Father's Day tribute finally appeared, and by then many people had already formed opinions about who had been placed at the center of the day's narrative. That's what kept fueling the discussion. And here's where most of the criticism actually came from. The message emphasized that family is everything, and that real-life relationships matter most. But at the same time, some viewers felt certain family connections were receiving significantly more public attention than others. Whether that was intentional or not, that's the perception being created online. That's why some people have described the situation as feeling transactional or selective. Not because anyone truly knows what happens behind closed doors, but because social media often encourages people to judge situations based on what gets highlighted, what gets delayed, and what receives the most visibility. Once those differences become noticeable, the audience starts connecting dots and creating their own conclusions. It's giving transactional parenting. And that's exactly why so many people are talking about it right now. Like, what are we doing here? At the end of the day, whatever issues may exist between Pap and Remy Ma are matters for the adults involved to handle. Children should never be placed in the middle of those situations or be perceived as receiving different treatment because of disagreements happening somewhere else. That's why this conversation has struck a nerve with so many people online. From the outside looking in, the Father's Day posts raised a lot of questions. Many viewers felt one child received the majority of the attention throughout the day, while recognition of the other children arrived much later. Whether that was intentional or not, that's the perception that ultimately spread across social media. And here's the thing, you're probably not going to receive a standing ovation for posting late at night after people have already spent the entire day discussing who was and wasn't acknowledged. That's where much of the criticism is coming from. A lot of people believe that when you're celebrating being a parent, all of your children should be celebrated equally and proudly. That's why some viewers have connected the situation to comments and concerns that have been publicly discussed before. As new events unfold, people naturally compare them to previous statements and draw their own conclusions. Of course, none of us know everything happening behind the scenes. Social media only reveals a small piece of the complete picture, but when public posts create certain impressions, people are going to react, speculate, and share their opinions. With that said, that's all for today's video. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think people are reading way too much into these Father's Day posts? Or do you believe the criticism is actually justified? Sound off and let everybody know where you stand. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, share the video, and leave a comment because every bit of support helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching. This is Shader Marcus Hale signing off. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next one.